I'd like to call this meeting of the Planning Commission for the City of Richfield to order. The first thing on the agenda would be to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Commissioner Keneally moves to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Surma seconded.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes from the previous meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes have been approved. The next thing on the agenda would be the open forum. The open forum is an opportunity for residents to address the Planning Commission, generally for items that aren't on the agenda for the evening. Did we receive any comments for the open forum electronically beforehand?
Chair and Commissioners, no, not for the open forum.
Is there anyone here who wishes to speak for the open forum? Yeah, please proceed right over there and sign in.
Ruane Onesi Rosan, 2421 West 65th Street. I have lived in my personal home for 35 years. I've paid my property taxes fully and on time over these 35 years. I do not want to become a realtor. I especially do not want to become a realtor who is standing in wait to grab my grandchildren's land and to hand it over to investment corporations. What happened to capitalism and the free market? Why is the city and the county government using my dollars to take my property from me? In 2018, my entire neighborhood of the very elderly came to sit before the Richfield Planning Commission, begging city planners not to restructure their comprehensive plan and turn over backwards and upside down and inside out so that paper-thin construction, we call now the big blue marshmallow, could be put up. Such construction and such action destroyed my peace of mind, our conglomerate peace of mind, and our community. Today, I stand alone as one of the residents who have not removed themselves from the neighborhood. Immediately adjacent to the marshmallow is an apartment which houses individuals who are autistic, have Down syndrome, and are paraplegic, among other special needs people. Kitty corner from me is an elementary school. A former member of your committee, Mr. Pym, once lived across the street from me. It was his vote that set in motion the construction of the big blue marshmallow. It would be foolish of me to cut my own throat and the throats of my grandchildren. Why should my property taxes be handed over to corporate giants while the pockets of the lower and the lower middle income classes are emptied? We the people do not support taking the place of realtors and private small business contractors, free of corporate strings. I am quite certain that I would not knowingly or wittingly hand over the land and house to non-family. I have no interest nor investment in any corporate ownership of land or of housing in Richfield. Do you?
Is there anyone else? All right, thank you, ma'am. I'll go ahead and close the open forum then. The next thing on the agenda would be to approve the agenda for the remainder of the meeting.
Commissioner Surma so moves.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Keneally seconds.
All right. All those in favor of approving the agenda for the remainder of the meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Moving into the regular meeting, the first thing would be our a public hearing. Do we have a staff report?
Yes, thank you, Chair and Commissioners. City of Richfield Planning Department has been working for the last 8 months with our planning consultant TC2 on updates to the multifamily and high-density multifamily zoning districts. We have Lance Bernard, the planning director with TC2, here with us this evening to give an overview of the efforts and where we're at. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner and Chair and Commissioners. Wanted to give a brief overview of just the work that has been done up to this date that reflects the 7 ordinances that are in front of you tonight. So we're really looking much closely. Thank you, Sam. Look at that on the screen.
Give it a minute. It just takes a moment.
Yep, there you go. So our efforts over the last few months has been really looking at updating and modernizing the existing zoning for MR2 and MR3. We want to provide an overview of just that process and where we've been over that time to give you a little bit more context of where we are today. So this whole overall effort has been led by the City of Richfield, but has also been funded through a grant through the Metropolitan Council, and we have all been collectively working as a team with city staff to help modernize the zoning code. So really this overall effort has really been looking at how we better modernize the zoning code to address missing middle housing. Where are there areas that can be updated in the existing code to look at triplexes, fourplexes, moderately small apartment buildings within those existing zoning districts. As part of that effort, we really want to make sure that we note that this is really about just purely updating and modernizing those existing zoning districts. This effort has not been about rezoning any property or re-guiding any property in the city's comprehensive plan. This has just been purely looking at the existing code and how we best modernize that to address those missing middle.
Do you know how we take the notes off of the staff?
I'm not sure. We'll, just so the notes aren't showing, I guess we'll switch screens here real quick. I think, does this still work for the commission at this? Let's see here. I do still see them on the bottom there.
That is weird. That should do it.
Yep,
No,
let's
yeah.
roll with that there. So this overall update process, really our goals has been just really trying to find those opportunities to modernize the code, really adhering to this city's comprehensive plan goals, specifically looking at opportunities to provide more flexibility and increasing housing options throughout the community within those zoning districts, continuing to support walkable communities, really looking for ways to optimize the existing land use to allow for those things to occur at the time that a property owner decides to redevelop their property, and then just continuing to promote different housing affordability and options throughout the community as well. So those were a few of the goals that were set forth as we began this process. We also wanted to establish some community engagement goals as well. We wanted to engage the property owners that currently own or live within those existing zoning districts and really help better inform and educate the community on the purpose of the overall project. So we've been doing a fair amount of engagement throughout the past months using social media, local newspapers, and so forth to promote the project website. And then really working much more closely with a number of different stakeholder groups. So we did focus a lot of our efforts on understanding what the developer interviews, looking at listening sessions with various groups and stakeholders. We've had a number of presentations and work sessions with the Planning Commission and City Council, as you're aware of. And then again, just broader marketing to inform the overall community of the effort using the project website. So there was a large, a postcard mailing to those that are currently zoned, MR2 and MR3, and then properties around those as well receive postcards informing them of this effort. So as we move forward, just really our overall approach of being able to look more closely at modernizing the zoning code, we broke this into a couple of different tiers to really help kind of bite-size the update and really look at things a little bit more closely and to really help facilitate the process a little bit more easily. So one of the first steps we took was really looking at Tier 1 and really sizing in place how you would place a building on a parcel. So we were really looking at lot sizes, building coverage, building height, setbacks, some of those requirements and standards that really influence how you shape that box on your parcel. That was really a large discussion point that we had with Planning Commission and Council on February 23rd of 2025 as part of a workshop where you and others provided your thoughts and input on some of those changes that we were thinking about as we looked at those Tier 1 standards. As we got a little bit further into the planning process, we then took a little step further down and looked at some more specifics within the zoning code and the standards, looking at parking and how parking would associate with a new development for MR2, MR3 zoning districts, looking at the characteristics and aesthetics of those type of buildings, so looking at window requirements, the screening of AC units, where you place the front entrance of the building, and then really making sure that it fits within the character of the overall neighborhood and is balanced accordingly with adjacent land uses as well. We also spent some time discussing administration approvals, what that means for very minor adjustments or providing more flexibility for unique circumstances where there's minor deviation from the zoning code where that would be could be done at the administration level. So a lot of those discussions occurred at our May 13th, 2025 City Council Planning Commission workshop where we received your input on a number of those proposed standards that we were considering and are certainly reflected within your packet tonight. And then finally, our last kind of tier that we broke down to was even getting a little bit more finer grain, kind of into the weeds of back to some of those characteristics of the building. So really making sure that the materials make sense, again, blending with the adjacent neighborhood and fits the character of the neighborhood. And then looking at a number of screening requirements, landscaping, placement of sidewalks and lighting. So another kind of level of standards that we needed to make sure that we're taking in consideration as we looked across the full spectrum of the updates to the zoning code. So there's a fair amount of work that has gone into all of those tiered systems that really then translated into a number of different proposed updates to the current zoning code and performance standards that are found in your packet that reflect the 7 ordinances that are in front of you today. There's 40 pages there. It's a lot to kind of take in, but it's something that, again, we have worked through with you and City Council through several workshops. So we hope that there's a good solid foundation of understanding in those current ordinances in front of you. So all of the tiered standards that we've worked through with you and staff and internally are reflected in those. So there are other ordinances in place here for consideration today. A couple that we wanted to make note of is not just those Tier 1, 2, 3 standards, but also the minor deviation administratively that I noted a minute ago that would allow administrative approvals for deviations of up to 10% from any dimensional standards, eliminating the need for variance requests. This would be very unique circumstances that would give staff some flexibility for very minor deviations away from those standards. Also looking at an ordinance tonight as well that would streamline the site plan approvals administratively for small, medium, and high-density projects if they comply with all code requirements. And then finally, repealing the residential permit parking ordinance. That's something that's been in place for a while that has never been used, and it was an opportunity to kind of look more at that and see if it still made sense to continue to carry forward. And as part of that ordinance is repealing that, as it's something that has not been used and is not currently needed. So that is just really kind of a quick overview of kind of the overall process, where we've gone from start to finish and proposing the recommendations that you have in front. From a schedule standpoint, just quick highlight, as Sam and I have noted, this started back at the beginning of the year. We've been working diligently with you, City Council, a number of stakeholders to get where we are tonight. So we're looking for Planning Commission's recommendations on those 7 ordinances. From there, that would go to the City Council's first reading on August 26, 2025, and a second reading on September 9th, 2025. So we're here to help answer any questions or any discussion you may want to have.
All right, do we want to address any questions to staff before we open the public hearing, or do you want to open the public hearing first?
Chair, if I may, I have 2 points I'd like to add to that. The first is that Brett was not able to, one of our planning commissioners was not able to be here this evening, and she did write in some comments that I'd like to read into the record. She says, "I'm sorry I'm not able to attend tonight's meeting, but I appreciate the opportunity to share a few thoughts. I'd like to say that I support the staff recommendations for the MR2 and MR3 zoning updates because they remove outdated barriers to building more of the type of housing our community needs. These changes are practical and a thoughtful step towards meeting the housing goals outlined in Richfield's 2040 comprehensive plan. The updates don't rezone any new land. They simply make it easier for property already zoned multifamily to be used as intended while maintaining design standards. This is a smart, balanced step that supports affordability, walkability, and neighborhood character." The second thing I would like to mention is that I recently, since the packet went out, but sometime before this meeting, noticed that we missed one item that was in the tiers. In Tier 3 was discussion of sidewalks and making them a requirement whenever a new project abuts a public street. And I believe we just accidentally omitted that. So with your hopefully recommendation for this item, would consider making that recommendation with that one addition for the sidewalks as previously discussed and as outlined in Tier 3 was intended.
So we could just, when we get to the end of the hearing, when it's time to make the resolution, we can just amend it then? That would make sense, right?
Yeah, it would go with the motion. Yeah. It could be all one motion, yeah. Any questions about that omission?
I have a question. I mean, I see it in the packet here. You're saying it's outside of the actual amendment itself, but it's in the packet, but not in the amendment?
Yeah, well, it's in the tiers, and we meant to include it in the ordinances,
Okay.
But it was a lot of writing, and I think it got
Sure.
skipped somehow.
Just making sure I understand what I'm looking at. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff before we take public comments?
Commissioner Kolkowski, just wondering if you've received any other feedback from the community, previous outreach since we last met, that has resulted in any other thoughts or changes to the ordinances?
Chair, Commissioners, I did receive that one email that I had forwarded to you. Other than that, we have not received any other comments.
All right, I'll go ahead and open the public meeting then. Is there anyone here to address this public hearing? Yeah, please go ahead.
It's a matter of communication, you see. We are told that this is a democracy.
Sure. I'm sorry, sir, if you wouldn't mind just saying your name for the record.
My name is Peter Onesirosen.
All right, and go ahead.
These things you refer to, they are more in-house among yourselves. I think the public is notified after you've made the decisions. Shouldn't the public be, for example, middle housing, how do you define that? What's the input from the people whose lives are being affected? What does missing middle housing mean? What is the meaning? Because you expect people to maybe monitor your discussions, almost have to give up going to work just to follow these things online. Isn't there a better way to communicate these ideas to people? This is why we are doing what we are doing. You know, and I don't see that. What you're talking about is your website. People have to just sit and keep monitoring this. Is that the way things are supposed to go? That confuses me. You are running a democracy. You are working for the people. Hopefully you live among the people, which is another issue, whether you live here or not, whether you live in the areas that are impacted by these grand issues. Wouldn't it be nice to get the people involved to explain why where we're doing what we are doing, instead of requiring them to? Most of the people who lived here are not of the generation that look at it online as a daily routine. I know many young people can't breathe without consulting pages, but that's my question. Is there a way to improve? Because what you're telling people is summary decisions. After you made the decision, you communicate throughout this website that we're supposed to be sort of, like we are keeping chickens. We have to keep monitoring them. Is there any way to explain that?
Are you asking? I didn't know if you were asking a rhetorical question, but you're asking a practical question.
I'm asking Isn't there a better way to? What you're doing may be quite right. As a man who finds this interesting, okay, you may find it very interesting. I find you very interesting myself, but it's a different matter altogether. Okay.
I would love to respond to a few.
Yes, please.
My name is Brendan Canale. I'm a planning commissioner. We're not employees at the city, we're volunteers, and we're residents. Like you, we want to know what's going on in our community and be involved.
Yes.
We want to be able to have our input heard and hear input from our neighbors, just like you. If you're not online, you'll notice there's a bulletin.
I'm online, but I'm not monitoring my screen every day for what's going on in
You
Richfield.
don't have to be, because you're here at City Hall, which is more than a lot of your neighbors do. And right by the door, there's a bulletin board where all of the public notices are posted physically. So you're here, you've already done the hard part.
But as to communication with the public, how do we address that?
Sure, and I mean, generally, a public hearing, it's not a kind of a question and answer back and forth. It's for us to receive your feedback and your opinions to help us as we think about these issues. So I don't want to get drawn too much into that, but I do want to say that our city staff is a professional city staff that does more than they're required to do by the law to ensure that our neighbors know what's going on in the community. And that includes everything from postcards to listening sessions to the Facebook, to the internet, but also physically mailing postcards, having the bulletin boards here. It's pretty amazing when we live in a community like Richfield, because you can call up City Hall and you can get the city planner on the phone. I don't know that, that's you can't do that in a bigger city, but we have a professional full-time staff here that is really dedicated to serving the residents. So they do provide multiple options for getting updates about the city, including weekly text message updates. And this particular set of proposals that we're discussing tonight, this has been discussed for almost since the beginning of the year, since last year when there was a grant. So there's been a long time coming. And so it's unfortunate if you feel like there hasn't been, that this is all just a surprise, but this has been kind of a longer term process. And so I am glad you're here. It is helpful to us to always hear the feedback, and even when someone isn't pleased with how things are going, that's helpful to us. But rest assured that we take what you say very seriously, and the city staff, their entire focus is serving the community. And so they take what you say very seriously. If you send an email to the city planner, it will be forwarded to us. So there's lots of channels for feedback and information, and I'm sorry if you feel like you missed out on that for these, but there isn't an attempt to, this isn't anything trying to sneak something through or push something through. This has been a long deliberative process with multiple meetings and listening sessions and work sessions. And so I am glad you're here. And it's important to me that you feel heard. So thank you for coming. And I do appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak to the public hearing about the proposed ordinances? All right, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Commissioner Hui motions to close the public hearing.
And we confirmed from staff there were no other comments. There were no other comments received outside of this. I'm sorry, did we already confirm that?
Yeah,
Yeah, Chair and Commissioners, there were comments received earlier on in the process, throughout the process, but since, since the notice went out for this public hearing, there was only what I forwarded to you, yeah.
so, do we have a second to the?
I'll second the motion.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the public hearing is closed. So now we would need a motion to approve to take the staff recommended action, and then we can discuss that.
Commissioner Keneally moves to take the staff recommended action.
All right, is there a second?
Commissioner Kolkowski seconds.
All right, thank you. And discussion.
As recommended by the city planner, I would like to make an amendment that sidewalks are required for all redevelopment of sites abutting public streets. Can we confirm that the wording there is accurate to what we discussed?
The reference to the sidewalks being incorporated is sufficient.
Okay.
Thank you.
So maybe a friendly amendment, chair amendment, to task city staff to include our discussions about sidewalks in the resolution forwarded to the city council. Is that fair? Okay.
We've got a record of it.
Okay. So there's been a motion to amend the motion to include to ask city staff to include sidewalks in the final resolution sent to the city council. Is there a second for that?
So seconded, Surma.
All right, any discussion?
I have some questions for city staff about sidewalks. Is that
Sure, we could do that.
time?
Yeah.
So one question I had, in section C under sidewalks says zoning regulations cannot impose requirements extend beyond the property, et cetera. I'm just trying to understand what specifically that is in reference to. It says reasoning of what in particular is that called out for?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. Can you repeat it? I
Section
apologize.
C says reasoning, and then it goes on to explain about, so I'm under sidewalks, number 3, so tier 3, number 3, section C.
Oh, Chair and Commissioners, okay, I believe I understand your question, and if I don't, you can ask it again. So there was initially discussion about requiring sidewalks beyond the extent of the boundaries of a particular parcel. And this is just clarifying that we cannot do that. It has to be only public sidewalks directly adjacent to a parcel, and it would kind of stop at the parcel boundaries.
Just so I understand then, so if something's on a corner, will the extend to the curb or simply to the right of way?
Oh, I believe that's a good question. We could probably negotiate with the developer to extend past to do the curb cut, or we could do you mean like the ramp that goes down?
Not just
Yeah.
the ramp, but into the right of way itself. Like, so many homes you see sidewalks to nowhere, and I want to avoid that.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody to have to walk on landscaping to get to a sidewalk. That would defeat the entire purpose of having a sidewalk, in my opinion.
If it's a corner lot, we would make it connect. If it were an interior lot, we would, I don't know that we would necessarily draw it all the way out to the corner to make it connect. I guess, could be decided on a case-by-case basis
And what would how would that be determined? Case
by our
case?
Public Works Department.
Sure, okay.
Pending before us right now is the motion to amend the resolution to add sidewalks. Is there any other discussion about that?
Question about the staff report. Another question for city staff, is that okay?
About sidewalks,
About the staff report here?
but related to?
Not about sidewalks.
Okay, so
no,
let's,
sorry.
let's,
Okay.
let's,
So hold off on that.
let's dispose of this motion and then we can move on to the main motion. All right. So moved and seconded to direct city staff to include sidewalks in the resolution to the city council. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that carries. Now we're on to the main resolution. Go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner Surma here. I just had a question about a map that was included in the staff report. I'm not sure which page this is. It's the map of residential parking reduction areas. I'm just wondering how often that gets updated, because I know transit service changes from time to time, and I know from when this map was put together, it's already outdated. So I'm wondering how often that'll get updated and when these reductions based on high-frequency transit lines get incorporated to a new, get incorporated on an ongoing basis as service evolves and changes over a period of years.
Oh, you're talking about the transit stops per se?
The residential parking reduction areas where there's a reduction in the parking requirements based on proximity to high frequent transit lines.
Yes.
I'm asking how often is this updated to reflect when transit service changes? Because other areas might fall under that, might meet that criteria. Like that's something that changes over time. It's a dynamic situation. So I don't know how the process is incorporated to update that going forward.
Yeah, we intend to be intentional about bringing it back to the Planning Commission and Council when updates are needed. It does take quite a while for Metro Transit to, it's quite a juggernaut of, it's rather slow moving. So we don't have it necessarily set up to automatically update at a staff level or administratively. We expect to be able to inform you and the public if changes are needed to this map, just because they do happen. They happen, but they happen pretty slowly enough that we can manage that.
Okay.
Lance, did you have something else?
Oh, yeah, just commissioners, chair and commissioners, yeah. So right now, this reflects the existing transit routes. And so if there are any transit route changes that could be coming here, maybe in the next few months with some of Metro Transit's more long-range planning would probably be addressed as part of the comprehensive plan as they look at some future routes. But outside of that, I wouldn't envision this map changing too significantly in the next, 6 months to a year.
It's meant to be a longer-term thing. Okay, I see. That makes sense. Thank you.
Commissioner Hui with a follow-up question. Is there a reason that our code references the map rather than just referencing the existence of the routes? Like if a project is being proposed and there's a route, regardless of what this map says, shouldn't we just say this is the, it's next to a frequent route? You know what I mean?
Chair and Commissioners, we did it intentionally this way so that we could, if if changes happen, we can analyze them and review them and understand what is the most appropriate way to move forward rather than having them automatically come in. So the code does verbally describe these the areas, like the proximity of one block on either side, north, south of of the line rather than of the stop. I mean, we tried very much to make it prescriptive, but then the map just is there to support the language in the code. The two should be identical. Just to have, it's nice to have a graphic. It's helpful.
Any other discussion? I'll just say that I agree with Commissioner Stursa that it is apparent that the feedback that we and city council members for the work sessions, that has all been taken into account. And I appreciate the consultant and our city staff for the listening and the very careful balancing act that's been done here with these changes. So I would encourage that we recommend approval.
I echo that. I agree with you, Chair. Sorry, this is Commissioner Keneally here, and I agree with Commissioner Stursa that this work is done to make it easier to build the types of multi-family homes that are missing here, the townhomes, the fourplexes, the eightplexes, and it's a mix we need here.
Any other discussion? All right, so then we do have before us then a motion to take the staff recommended action and forward approval of the proposed ordinances to the City Council. Hearing no other discussion, all of those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. The next thing on the agenda then would be consideration of a resolution finding that the acquisition and disposition of a single family and duplex residential properties in areas guided for low density resolution through the Richfield Rediscovered and New Home Program is consistent with the Richfield Comprehensive Plan. Could we have the staff report for that, please?
Chair and Commissioners, if you want to go, in 2009, the Planning Commission approved a blanket resolution finding that any time the HRA purchased a single-family property for reuse as a single-family property in an area guided for low-density residential, it was consistent with the comprehensive plan. As a result, each individual acquisition or sale by the HRA did not need to come before the Planning Commission for review. Because duplexes are now permitted in low-density residential districts since 2023, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission update the blanket resolution to include duplex properties intended for reuse as either single-family dwellings or duplexes. In short, staff is proposing that the Planning Commission revise the general finding of consistency for properties bought and sold through the Richfield Rediscovered and New Home programs to be deemed automatically consistent if the property is currently zoned low-density residential, is guided low-density residential, is used as either single-family or duplex, and is proposed to be used as either single-family or duplex. This change will allow staff to continue administering our housing programs efficiently while ensuring alignment with the city's long-term planning and land use policies. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
My only thought would be is if it's currently being used as a duplex and then is going to be used as a single family, I would wonder if we could carve that out. So if it's a single family and going to be used for single family, that's in line. If it's a duplex and going to be used as a duplex, it's in line. But if it's a duplex and then it's going to be changed to a single family, I'm wondering if that might not trigger a review instead of automatic approval. Because since that is...
Well, the whole, Chair and Commissioners, thank you for that. Sorry, I haven't addressed you better. It is consistent. So the finding of consistency, the point of the blanket resolution is because you don't really have a choice. It is and always will be consistent. So it's kind of a waste of time to bring the resolution to you. That would not,
Because whoever purchased it would be the one who would make the decision of
how it's, well, most of these properties well, all of these properties, these are properties that are purchased by our HRA for our housing program. So we are deciding what happens with these properties. So So, yeah, so we have that decision-making authority.
Any other?
Is there a particular reason that we're specifically calling out single family and duplex rather than just saying like, if the property conforms to the type and is in the, we just accept it, you know what I mean? Is there a specific reason are we gonna have this conversation, we add triplexes or quadplexes in 5-10 years?
And also, I could see that it could be a duplex with an ADU, and that would also be compliant with our low-density residential. So I believe so. I believe we could make it more generic just to, if that was the Planning Commission's desire, I believe we could clarify that language to be a little bit more inclusive.
I'm open to discussion about whether that is beneficial or not. It's just a thought of just simplifying the code, but if there's a specific reason why that might not be good, where we would want some edge cases brought in, I'm open to hearing that.
Chair and Commissioners, this is an item that's from our, actually, this is an item where it was on the agenda this evening specifically because we have a duplex that we are in negotiation with. So we are interested in having it pass this evening, but we could bring it back next month after consulting with our housing with some clarification to include more general language as you're suggesting.
Yeah, my concern is very minor, and I'm curious about like things like ADUs and things that if it's going to complicate things, I'd be curious about it, but I also understand the desire to move it along too. I'm very supportive of the concept in general. I'm just trying to make everything easier, but I don't want to make it harder by making it easier.
Yeah, and likewise, we don't want to have to bring it back again for another technicality if it's not needed.
So we need a motion to take the recommended staff action.
Because I'm comfortable with the language. Commissioner Keneally here, making a motion to take the staff's recommended action.
All right, is there a second?
Commissioner Kolkowski seconds.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, motion carries. The last thing then on the, or second to last thing on the agenda then would be liaison reports. Community Services Advisory. Is that, okay. City Council is me. The City Council in their last couple of meetings, they had a closed meeting to do the city manager's performance evaluation. They also had a work session with some updates about the pool and Veterans Park. Yeah, those were the two most recent meetings that were City Council. HRA, Brett is not here. School Board.
Thank you, Chair. School Board took June off. No report.
Okay. Transportation Commission.
Chair, there's no report.
All right.
There was no meeting.
Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce is out until August, but at the last meeting, they just mentioned that Penn Fest planning is going well. It's scheduled for September 21.
All right. And sustainability, Matt's not here. So the final thing on the agenda then today would be the city planner's report.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. We have quite a bit that's gone on since the last time we met, was May. So I'm going to read each item and then pause for a minute in case you have any questions about that item. So the first item is the short-term rental ordinance was passed on May 27th with a 5-day minimum. Beginning January 1st, 2026, short-term rentals, which is anything less than 1 month, must be for a minimum of 5 days unless the owner lives on site and is present during the guest's stay. A business license with an inspection will be required instead of a rental license, and all short-term rentals must pay the 3% lodging tax. Okay. On June 10th, the City Council approved Penn Station, the 42-unit building at 6501 Penn Avenue. The developer is working towards closing in September or October, with demolition and construction expected to start in late fall. Permits for site work at Loma Bonita were issued on June 30th, and once parking lot construction begins, it will hopefully go quickly, and a fall opening is a possibility. Yes. Our economic development manager is working with Civic Brand, a national consultant, to develop a branding and placemaking strategy to highlight downtown Richfield in a way that supports local businesses, attracts visitors, enhances the area's vibrancy, and celebrates community pride. They will launch an online survey in early August to get feedback that will help define downtown Richfield's identity and inform the branding. We'll let you know once it's launched, and we encourage you to complete the survey. The Economic Development Authority received a Business District Initiative grant from Hennepin County for this project. Thank you.
I'm sorry, did you read the bullet point about the Office of Cannabis Management?
Oh, my gosh, I didn't. Thank you. Also, one more item. The Office of Cannabis Management has been issuing pre-approvals, and we've been receiving lots of inquiries regarding potential cannabis locations.
Does that mean people are calling and asking, where are they?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I was wondering if staff could update us, has any updates on construction of the new Wood Lake Nature Center building? It just, I attended the groundbreaking back in May, but it doesn't look like demolition has started yet.
Yeah, it hasn't. I asked if we had, if it has started construction, and the answer I got was no, and I'm sorry, I don't have a better update for you on that. All I know is it hasn't started. But you knew that.
All right, thank you, Senator Crosby. Our next meeting then would be Monday, the 25th. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Keneally so moves.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Hui seconds.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned.